Welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we are back with another lore video. Today we'll be discussing an important hero in the Vampire Count's history. Not so much a count himself, but a servant. I'm talking about a fierce Chaos Lord who carved a mighty empire of barbarians, terrorized the dwarves, and then was later resurrected after his death by the Dark Lord Nagash himself. This is the story of Krell. Krell was a mighty Chaos Lord dedicated to the Chaos God Khorne, who carved a mighty empire in the Chaos Wastes and lands which would be in future known as the Empire. He and his so-called barbarian empire were active roughly 1,500 years before the forming of the actual empire we know today. In truth, not much is known about Krell's destruction against the primitive humans, as he quickly allied with the night goblins of the region and turned his attention to the dwarves, with Krell's name being placed inside the Great Book of Grudges many times. It is said that the combined forces attacked and conquered Karak Ungor and Karak Varn among other holds. Krell eventually found his end during an assault of Karak Kadrin, where the dwarf hero Grimbul Ironhelm ended his life. The remaining of Krell's followers carried away his body to the edge of the Chaos Wastes, where they placed him inside a tomb. This was supposed to be his final resting place, unless he was needed by the Chaos Gods again. However, the Dark Lord Nagash came 1,500 years later, and he was in need of a champion. See, the Dark Lord Nagash had travelled north to the Chaos Wastes in order to search for the fabled crown of sorcery, and stumbled across Krell's tomb. He easily translated the runic inscriptions on the tomb's walls and realized that here lay the remains of a dark champion who was a great commander and a fierce warrior. Nagash was extremely pleased by this and decided to resurrect Krell as one of the 9 Dark Lords of Nagash. In death, Krell was a fierce fighter just as he was in life, and laid waste to many human towns and dwarven holds in the service of Nagash. He was charged in defeating the dwarven holds that allied with the Empire, and was doing so. In truth, victory may have been achieved against the dwarves were Nagash not cut down by Sigmar himself, as when an undead lord is cut down, his armies soon crumble, and Nagash was just left with his personal graveguard. However, this was not to be the end for Krell, who managed to escape with a small army of undead from the victorious Sigmarites and dwarves, who were too exhausted to chase after him. Krell quickly regained his composure and marched his remaining forces in a bloody dance of death against the Empire, and quickly destroyed towns, villages and castles. It was not until the famous Battle of Glacier Lake where Krell's forces were finally put to rest, where Sigmar's army defeated them and Sigmar himself placed Krell in a magical tomb. This tomb was constructed in order to prevent his return. However, as most things in the Warhammer world, they come back. An age had passed until Heinrich Kelmler, the Lich Master, and a powerful necromancer discovered Krell's tomb and managed to restore him. Krell fought as a servant of Heinrich for many years, doing extensive damage to the forces of Bretonnia, the Wood Elves, and the Empire, even dueling and wounding the infamous dwarf Gotrek Gunnison, and Krell quickly regained his reputation as a fierce warrior. During the beginning of the end times, Heinrich and Krell joined forces with Arkan the Black in his campaign in Bretonnia to retrieve the Scarf of Nagash. There Krell slew many of those filthy peasants, and even slew the Duke Tancred, whilst Arkan and Heinrich were busy retrieving the staff. There the Lich Master decided he would rather worship the gods of chaos than to follow Nagash's vision, and was quickly taken down by Arkan, but that is a story for another day. Krell quickly joined forces with Arkan, and while Arkan travelled to Sylvania to resurrect Nagash, Krell was dispatched to distract a beastman herd, which was led by Malagor. After Nagash was resurrected, Krell was named one of the Dark Lord's Mortraks, a Mortrak of Despair. The new Lord of Despair was firstly sent to the World's Edge Mountains to report on the activities of an original Dark Lord, the Vampire Queen Neferata, which led to him and her allying in order to defeat a greenskin army, and then later to destroy the forces of Karak Azul, with Krell himself slaying the legendary King Cazador in personal combat. Following this, Krell was one of the generals leading an attack into Nehekara, and fought with the armies of the Tomb Kings over many months, with Krell combining his forces with that of Manfred von Karstein, Arkan's elite guard from Najazizar, and various traitor Tomb Kings who joined to Nagash's cause. They assaulted the city of Kemri, and Cetra was destroyed. Krell, however, was ripped apart by a tomb scorpion, but Nagash was not done with Krell, and fully restored him shortly after. As once a servant of Nagash, always a servant of Nagash. When a large force of Nurglites invaded Sylvania, Krell marched to defend the province as his master's orders. After Manfred von Karstein and Luthor Harkon failed to drive the forces back, Krell would send his armies in full force, giving little to no value of his units. All that mattered was that he send them back to where they came. This was, however, not to be the case, as the demon army still reached the Black Pyramid, and Krell and his Doom Legion were stuck in the middle of a massive force. There Krell did battle against a great unclean one, and was beaten, and then eaten whole by the great demon. This proved to be just a distraction though, as a Skaven team ended up destroying the Black Pyramid, dispersing Nagash's huge reservoir of death magic. And with this, the forces of the undead had taken a huge hit to their potential power. In a massive rage, Nagash destroyed the demonic undead, and once again, for the final time, resurrected Krell, even though he considered him a failure. Nagash and Krell quickly travelled to Athaloran to join the Council of Incarnates, and then to Middenheim, where the various armies of Incarnates stood to make their final stand. There they did battle against endless hordes of demons from all the Chaos Gods. And Krell, the mighty warrior, fought one-on-one combat against Sigvald the Magnificent. Sigvald and Krell being quite even in combat, and it was only until Krell managed to score a small wound on Sigvald's face, which sent the favoured son of Slaanesh into such a blind rage, where Krell met his end, as he finally overcame Krell with a mindless series of frantic savage blows with swords, shield, and fists. There Krell was destroyed once more. However, this time Nagash had neither the energy nor the reason to restore him, and there the White King was finally put to rest. I hope you've enjoyed this new lore video, and there will be more as planned coming every single day. Until then, thanks for watching.